Welcome to In This Season podcast, where we unpack the most empowering conversations, have exclusive and inspirational interviews, and host special events. Join Tammy, some call her Butterfly, and explore life's purpose by learning how to embrace each season of your life with confidence, strength, and purpose. Whether you're blooming in the spring, or shining in the summer, or embracing change in the fall, or gracefully hibernating in the winter, get ready to be inspired. Join us right here on this season of In This Season podcast with your host, the Butterfly. It's time, no matter what season it is.
Good morning,
Welcome
good morning.
to In This Season
Beautiful.
podcast, where we unpack the most empowering.
And get. I think we're having some technical difficulties. Are you there, Bone?
Oh, there we go. It kind of froze up on me.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah. I sounded down a bit early. Can you hear the duck?
I can. You're chopping up on me, but good to see y'all.
You too. I said, are you able to hear the ducks?
Yeah, I can hear them. The music's going good, but you're a little choppy for me. So instead of doing like this, you're doing like it's like chopping up on you a little bit. But good morning, everybody. How y'all
But you
doing?
can hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay.
I can hear.
I'm going to go
How
ahead
you
and
be?
stop it then, since we are having some issues on the 300th day. Yeah, it is. It's doing something kooky, but that's all right. That's all right, y'all. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, happy to be here.
Um,
It must be that weather. You know how that weather goes every now and then. When it gets rainy,
yeah,
for some reason, it slows down on StreamYard. But it is what it is. It just makes it fun.
it's all good. Right. Yeah, it'll go away. It'll go away. Y'all help us release it. Great everything, everyone, and great 300th day of In This Season, Miss Brenda Davis says. And Miss Cousin Toy says Grand Risings. Grand Risings. I'll send that energy away from us. Come on, join in with us to release that. Whatever is going on, we have the power within to. I woke up with the song "Sweeted." I shared it with some people, and so it's all right. It is what it is, but it's all good.
Make it do what it do.
It's all in this place. Take over this place, right? So let's jump right into it, Brandon, because
I know you got something to do, huh? Got something right after this, huh?
we got to get out of here, you guys.
All right, so you're good because you're chopping up on me, but you good for me to go ahead and go with it?
You're
All right, sounds good, y'all.
with it, yeah.
Well, welcome and good
Just carry
morning,
on.
everyone, to the In This Season podcast with your lovely host, the Butterfly, sitting right over there. I don't know if y'all can see. There she is. And her son, me, the co-host. Good to see y'all, and thank you for joining us again on this 300th day of the In This Season podcast. A quick recap, y'all. We started this out in February, celebrating African American history, Black History Month. We wanted to do something special, something educational, something inspirational, something motivational, and something that would help us with the next year, with this upcoming year that we had. And at the time, it was only the second month, so we wanted to see if we could change the rest of our year and change the year of other people by orienting ourselves in the morning, every single morning, with a book called Daily Motivations for African American Success. Mom, can you show your book? Mine's all beat up. I don't want to show my beat up book on day 300.
Yes.
Yeah. So we started reading this book. This book came into my life in a very interesting way. My father-in-law and my mother-in-law gifted this to me. This was my father-in-law's, but once they were moving out, my mother-in-law gave it to me. So I'm grateful for both of them. And I thought it was interesting that it was on their shelf. because they are of Mexican, indigenous, and Chinese descent. But my father-in-law is an academic, and he studies social movements and then puts them inside of art. So it surprised me in one way, and then in another way, him being an activist, uh, and him being somebody that socially was educated about the struggles, stories, and histories of other people. It seemed right that he would have something like this. So I'm really grateful for that. But a little bit more about this book. This book has been our friend. This book has been um, a confidant in a sense, and something, a resource for us to be able to go to figure out, things that were already going on in our life. It's almost like I was on the phone with this book, telling it about different things going on in my life, and it would pop up. So I hope y'all have the same experience with this book. Make sure you go get this book and support this author, Dennis Kimbro. But a little bit more about this book specifically. Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that would lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, the author of the popular book Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and how to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. But what it teaches will last you a lifetime. And it's been doing that for us for the past 300 days, starting from February 1st. And now here we are at November 26th. So if you've been here since day one, give yourself a pat on the back. If you were here months ago, give yourself a pat on your back. If you just started coming a month ago or 2 weeks ago, give yourself a pat on the back. If you've been here for more than one show, or if this is your first show, you have started the right trend and are heading in the right direction. Feeding yourself in the morning, filling up your cup every single morning, not just with water, not just with coffee, but with inspiration, with encouragement, with affirmation. And what better way can you start after you've already faced God? Now face yourself, and then you go out there and face the world. So hopefully we give you a little bit extra oomph as you go out, a little extra fuel in your tank, um, and a little bit more pep in your spiritual, mental, and financial steps. So over to you, Mom. Thank y'all for joining the show on day 300.
I'm all good. I'm ready to jump right into it. Good morning, Big Mike. He says back in the house, is in the house with us, not back, because she's been a regular. So y'all, thank you. And let us know if it gets too choppy out there. It seems to be calming down a bit. Don't know what's going on with that, but y'all, we're gonna keep moving because that's what we must do. So use this, whatever is going on, as everything we should, just as an opportunity to keep moving, to keep going. I heard Steve Harvey say that you don't get to it unless you go through it, right? So we got to go through some things to get to some things that we want to get to our goals, right? So, Brandon, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So today, November 26th. November 26th. Our title is My Kind of Person. My Kind of Purpose. And our quote comes from Lena Horne, the singer, who said, God speaks wherever he finds a humble, listening ear. And the language he uses is kindness. Again, God speaks wherever he finds a humble, listening ear. And the language he uses is kindness. Kindness is the golden chain by which society is bound together. Every day is filled with the opportunity to be polite and thoughtful instead of indifferent and careless, kind and gentle rather than difficult and contemptible. We can all look back to someone who, through an act of kindness, took special pains to help us. A kindness done today, said the famed educator Benjamin E. Mays, is the surest way to a brighter tomorrow. One way to get along better in the world, writes Maya Angelou, is to be just a little kinder than necessary. Reverend E.V. Hill, pastor of one of the largest black churches in the country, agrees. Don't expect to enjoy life, he says, if you keep your kindness bottled up. It says, don't expect to enjoy life, he says, if you keep your kindness bottled up. To be successful means performing acts of kindness. There is a fable about this idea of kindness. It features the sun and wind who were engaged in a contest to see who could get an old man to take his coat off first. The wind blows fiercely, trying to loosen the coat, but the old man just pulls his coat tighter around him. Finally, the wind gives up and the sun appears. The sun beams a steady, warm ray of sunshine down on the old man, who soon takes off his coat to escape the heat. More and better things are accomplished in a world of kindness than by force. When we find ourselves most frustrated, it is often because we are trying to force certain things to happen. But our own patient and steady desire to grow, fed by the love and kindness of others, cannot be stopped by anything or anyone. Our own kindness is a powerful force in our lives. It is like the tender flower that lifts its petals through the granite. And our affirmation for today, at the bottom of the page, says that today I will perform an act of sincere kindness.
Sincere.
Emphasis on sincere. Today I will perform an act of sincere kindness. And that's what we have for today. Day 300. Are you your kind of person? Am I my kind of person? This is the question that we should be asking. How much kindness do you have in your heart? How much are you willing to give? Are you willing to take just an extra step to be a little more kind, a little more gentle, a little more compassionate, a little more merciful? And with this, what can we expect to happen in our inner world, our inner reality, and our external world, our outer reality? And how does that improve our relationship with ourselves? How does that improve our relationship with others? How, most importantly, does that improve our relationship with God? What acts of kindness, sincere kindness, can bring you closer to the Creator? What acts of sincere kindness can bring you closer to your family, your children, your spouse, right? What acts of sincere kindness can make your hood a neighborhood? Make the person that lives next door to you a neighbor, maybe even a friend? What can an act of kindness do to improve your quality of life? Not the quantity of your years, but the quality in which you live them. Can you think of an act of kindness, an act of goodwill, or a righteous deed that would help you in that cause? What can you do now that may cost you a little bit more, a little bit extra effort, or as as Maya Angelou said, one way to get along better in the world is to be just a little kinder than necessary. What's just a little bit kinder than necessary that will really, and that costs you just a little bit more of your patience, of your time, of your intention. Maybe you have to go out of your way, take a different route home in order to drop someone off. Maybe you help someone out with something. But what is it that you can do that might cost you a little here, but store you up for the hereafter, right? For when you meet your Creator, you have something to show for it. Because surely all of the riches, all of the wealth, everything that we possess, we can't take with us. But a kind heart, a gentle heart, a compassionate heart, right? Light as a feather, we can bring that before God, and it's greater than the world and everything in it. So what can you do today that would not only make your today better, purify your heart, make your tomorrow, your relationship better, but also that brings you closer to God and incites his pleasure with you? Are we being pleasing to God? Are we seeking his pleasure through acts of kindness, through acts of compassion, through acts of charity? It's incumbent upon us as dignified human beings to be gentle, to be compassionate, to be merciful. This is what you call being godly, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what being godly is. We can never compare to the one God, but we want to incur his pleasure and not his wrath. I can't say we earn it because none of us deserve it, but we can incur his pleasure as opposed to his wrath by doing things that remind us of God, of the mercy that he's had on us and others. So how can you be more godly today? Because surely others, people may not deserve your mercy, right? People may not deserve this act of kindness. It's nothing that they did specifically that would earn this, oh, I owe them a kind act. It wouldn't be kindness anyway. If you feel like you owe somebody something, is that really kindness or is that debt? But do it with a pure heart. Do it with a heart that doesn't seek anything in return, right? That doesn't even seek a thank you, right? Your thanks is the pleasure of God. Your thanks is doing goodness for goodness sake, righteousness for righteousness sake. And there's a difference, and note this, to not appeal to your ego, because there is a difference between being righteous and being self-righteous, right? So don't undermine your compassion, undermine your kindness with reminders of the acts that you do, right? Don't undermine your kindness and compassion and charity with being boastful about what you do. If you can keep a kind secret with God, that's my kind of person. That might be God's kind of person. And so look at the title here. The title says my kind of person, right? So are you kind? Right? It's interwoven even into the in my opinion the etymology of our species. Some would disagree. They say, oh, it comes from this root. But I like to remind myself when I hear these words, mankind. Are you kind to the people around you? Right? We aren't just man. We aren't just humanity. It's mankind. Can you be an extra level of compassion, right? To incur to just increase your level and your status and your rank amongst the creation. Because truly you're the best of creation. Humans are the best of creation. But we have the ability to be better than the angels or worse than the devils. The choice is yours. God is the most merciful, the most compassionate. Can you be a little bit more merciful, a little bit more compassionate, and a little bit more kind today? And where does that get you tomorrow? If anywhere, is your intent to get somewhere with it, right? Or is it goodness for goodness sake? Is it for the pleasure of God, the greatest of all these? Something to ponder for the rest of the day. Over to you, Mom.
So, Brandon, I'll be quick. I like my kind of person, meaning, are you your kind of person? Are you this kind person? Because, truth be told, y'all, we know who we are. We know what we see when we look in that mirror. We know who we are when we get what we saw and who we are. But are you your kind of person, right? And who would say that you are do some we can perform some kind deeds with some bad attitudes. I mentioned, I guess, last week where about when a person allows us to stay, I mean horrible. So did a kind thing, right? But not sincerely not genuine, and it shows. But if you're just doing something, getting caught up, you got caught up in your feelings or emotions, and you did something kind, but without kindness, right? The ness is what brings it to life. Hadith that says, live or act as if you see God, that you see him. But if you don't, know that he sees you. Like I was. But we should live and do life as we see God right in the physical. But just know, if you don't see him, he sees you. Every deed, every word you utter, every thought you think, that makes the innermost, that makes the most on your being, the innermost fiber of your being, right? Know that he sees you. He sees those things. He hears those things, right? So I like it. My kind of person. God speaks wherever he finds a humble listening ear. Because if you're have a humble ear and you're listening, perhaps you won't just listen, but you will do. And you will do it as if God sees you. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about feeling some kind of way about having to be. She can't drive right now. Or there was a time where she couldn't drive or can't drive very far. So she has to depend on people to get her to church. But she was talking about how she feels some kind of way because she feels like the people are getting tired of picking her up and taking her to church. And I said, and she said, well, but maybe it's just me feeling that way. Maybe it's not the person. I said, well, you think about it. Sometimes we are tired and we do get tired of doing things, but it's still how we do it. And I said, think about parents. Parents get tired, right? But that's just a thing. We still do, and hopefully we do it from the heart, sincerely. So y'all, this is a wake up. This is a wake up. Don't do a kind thing with a bad attitude, right? Don't do a kind thing just for the sake of saying, I did a thing. Because sometimes that's what it's about as well. But if your heart isn't in it, right? It's a song say, if your heart wasn't in it or isn't in it, why don't you tell me so? It's okay to tell people sometimes we're tired, but we still have a responsibility to be kind and to do it. Because if God looked at us based on how he felt or how tired he gets of trying to, not that he does, but if he was human like us, you know how many times he would throw in the towel on us and get tired of trying to get us just to know who he is and how much he loves us and his kindness for us. So kindness, the quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate. And considerate in this definition is underlined. Considerate for people. Do you consider people? Or do you just want to be considered? Right? Have this thing that says, if I'm not, people will call you selfish in a minute, right? Right? But it's typically because they're not getting what they want, right? So that doesn't mean to them that they're not being selfish, right? It just means that you are. But can you stop for a minute and consider what people might need in their space and in their place? Like the song said this morning, sweet, sweet spirit, take over this place. Take over my mind, my heart, right? Sweet, sweet spirit. Will you just ask of that today? Don't let me be me. Let your will be done, right? I came across this thing that read about 3 things that God expects from us. And kindness was one of them. It says, these 3 things that matter so much to God are the 3 things that God wants to see in us. Justice, to treat others fairly and respectfully, and to be honest and morally ethical. Justice. Humility is another one. And then there's kindness, right? Justice, kindness, and humility. To act justly is to treat people fairly and with respect. Do you just want it? What kind of person are you? Do you just want it? Or do you also give it? Because to much is given, much is required. And God gives us grace. He gives us kindness every day. And that is much. And because that is much, that is required of us. Smile at someone. You get to the checkout stand, speak, even if they don't speak to you. Ask, how has it been in here? Has it been crowded? Or if it's not so crowded, hey, where is everybody? You'll get a conversation, right? We don't even know how to just say hello to someone. 9/11, I often wondered how many people rode the elevator up together and never said good morning. How are you? Good morning. How many people lost their lives together who may have worked right next to each other and never had a conversation, a kind conversation? So y'all, kindness is the word today. Sincere kindness. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Because you either are or you're not. There's no in between. No in between. Brandon, there's so much more that could be said, but I'll stop with, and the language he uses is kindness. God speaks wherever he finds a humble, listening ear. Because it could be humble, but not hear God. It could be humble, it could hear, right? But not receive. And the language he uses is kindness. So you may be humble, you may hear, but you don't understand the language. You don't understand. And therefore, you may skip out on being somebody's kind of person on the very day that they need it. And so you. So over to you, Brandon.
Thank you, Mom. Kindness, kindness. Looking at the title today, my kind of person, and then the last part of Lena Horne's quote, she said, God speaks wherever he finds a humble listening ear, and the language he uses is kindness. So kindness is a universal language. It kindness goes beyond race, goes beyond religion, it goes beyond culture and ethnicity, nationality. An act of kindness is something that every human being can interpret, can see, can understand, can witness, right? How many witnesses will come with you? How many witnesses will be there with you and say on Judgment Day, this person helped me, right? This person was there for me, right? How many trees will say this person planted me? And from that tree, how many ants and birds will say, I had a house there. They provided a home for me. They provided shade for me, right? But if it wasn't your intention to please God, of what use is it, right? So make sure that you purify your intentions as you do these things, and know that kindness isn't always what other people see. It isn't always what people can see and can take and be noteworthy for you. Um, it's not always what you will gain immediately. We really have to get out of this culture of every time I do something, I need something in return. That is a culture of spiritual scarcity because you
Mhm.
think that it's limited by something. But in the spirit of abundance, and Mama, I know you got to go. In the spirit of abundance, um, you can recycle that kindness. You can create that kindness in your heart, that an unlimited supply of love, compassion, and kindness. So though we may get tired, when you remind yourself of why you're doing it, of who you're doing it, of who sees you, even though you can't see them, a little bit more fuel goes in that tank. You ever rode on that E, and for some reason that car just kept going, you just don't understand. But God. So you might be tired, but put your foot on that pedal a little bit. You ain't gotta hit the gas and go fast, but just keep going. God got you. And it pays off in the end. The return on spiritual investments is unlike anything you can even imagine. So don't even try to. Just do
Mhm.
it for the sake of doing it. And you'll be better for it. I promise you. But all right, y'all. Again, so we already read November 26th. Our title was My Kind of Person. I told you guys what that quote was, but I didn't tell you the affirmation again. So we'll end it with this. Our affirmation is today I will perform an act of sincere kindness. Today I will perform an act of sincere kindness. And if you guys remember, tomorrow when you come here, let me know what you did. Or don't. Just say that I did it. Say I did it. This is just for us to keep accountable. This isn't for us to brag about it. I don't want to say, oh, I did this. But we'll
Mhm.
remind you guys maybe tomorrow, hey, did you guys do it? Because it is okay to do an act of kindness as an example for others to follow, right? That is a pure intention to inspire others to do acts of kindness,
Hey,
right?
Brandon, may I
Mhm.
say, you guys look for an opportunity to be kind
Mm.
today. Look
Is
for it.
is that the listening God was talking that
Look
we were
for
talking
it.
about here?
Right. I'm reminded of a few things, and I know we got to go. The story of the two young boys, where one of them on graduation day talked about a time when he had planned to go home and take his life, but he befriended someone that day who was kind to him, and it changed his perspective of life, his life. It gave him an outlook, a reason for that day to live. And you never know, you may be the only God that someone sees, right? To see God in you, you may be the only one, because y'all, truth be told, I'm going to say it just like I'm going to say it. We got some hateful ass God people who are claiming, right? I'm just going, that's, y'all, we need to start saying it like speak your language. It ain't mine. I'm speaking your language so that you hear it.
Say it
Some of
again.
y'all got some nasty attitudes to be on the pew every Sunday and sometime Wednesday every time the door opens. Y'all attitude so funky and nasty. Won't even want go outside and pass an elderly person trying to get in their car and something's wrong. And you'll pass a homeless person and won't even lift up a word to God,
Mm,
right? Your heart ain't even moved by it. So look for a reason. Ask yourself, am I my kind of person? Am I God's kind of person? And don't play with yourself. Because if you don't see him, just know that he sees you. Thus the reason it says, the line gonna be so short and y'all gonna be like, what about me? Never knew you.
mm,
Never knew you. I tried to talk to you. I tried to find your ear, right? And I tried to get you to learn my language, but you was stuck on knowing just yours. Just yours. So y'all, this is real today. Let's stop playing, because life matters. There are people out here hurting, looking for somebody to give them a reason to know that there's a God and to trust what that means just because they see it in you, right? Tell them your story of glory. Tell them how God changed you. Tell them how you used to be so mean and hateful. Right? Even when people and you were saying, I'm a good person. Where's your ness? Goodness, kindness. Where is it? Because you could say it, but if we don't see it, you don't see it. You don't see it, we don't see it. So this is deeper than deep, right? Good morning, Brother Trent. Trent says the ability to be better than the angels or worse than the devil. Miss Brenda says, you're so right, Tammy. I have had some wonderful conversations at the grocery store. Trent says, day 300, congrats, you guys. Leo Barney says, I try that every day while I ask the Lord to help me be a better me every day. And he says, congrats on the big 300. Thank you, Leo. Thank you.
So, Mr. Leo, good to see you,
So
man. Good to see you here.
I say often every morning, woe it's me, God. In that war room, woe it's me. Fix me. Woe it's me. Sometimes y'all, it's okay to pray for somebody, but you need prayer too. Because we get in our way, right? So are you God's kind of person? Not mine. Because if you God's kind of person, you my kind of person. Because you show up with sincere love, even when you're tired. Kindness, right? Think about a night Miss Rose, the lady who lost her husband. And I had known her only for a little bit. And I climbed up in my bed that night with intentions on going to sleep because I was so tired. Two stories in this. One, that she had known me just for a little while. Just for a little while. Second, why was I the first that she called? Tammy, my husband just passed away. It wasn't coincident that God put me in her life because he knew no matter how tired I was going to get up and go. And not only did I get up and go, I called some more people. Y'all come, go with me. Go with me. But it's sad. It's sad that she had to call someone that she barely knew. That says that there were some people that she knew, but she didn't know, right? She knew, but they didn't know her enough to care with that ness. And it ain't about who you know and how long you've known them. We should meet strangers and have the ness.
Yeah.
And the only way you're going to have the ness if you got godness, goodness, the goodness of the Lord in your heart. In your heart. Let's get out of here, Brandon.
Let's do it. Hey, Mom, I saw a picture in the last 2 days that connects two people in the chat that I don't think have ever met. But Mr. Leo, since we got you here, I don't know if you remember, he probably does remember this, knowing him, but you gave me a necklace when I was a child. Do you remember? And it had the African face mask on it, the kind of oval African face mask on it. And it was on a black leather string, I want to say, that tied in the back. And I was looking through some pictures this week, the last couple of days or so, and I saw a picture of when I graduated college. And I was in a picture looking over I think the Henley Street Bridge in downtown Knoxville, University of Tennessee, my alma mater. And I had on my black gown, and I had that necklace on next to my Uncle Mike, who came to see me graduate. And I just thought about that act of kindness. I don't know what it was about that necklace. I still got it in here somewhere. But I kept up with that necklace since I was like 8 years old, right? 8, 9 years old. And it meant, I remember seeing it on when I was preparing to graduate and put my stuff together for graduation. And for some reason, it just meant the world to me to put that on and what it represented, like this, the culmination of my academic career at that time. He said, "Yes, I do." Leo said, "Yes, I
Yeah.
do." But I wore that on my graduation next to my Uncle Mike, and I remember looking at it, and I was like, "Wow, I remember that." And Mr. Leo, you are a true example of this. Mr. Leo, I have not seen him in years, y'all. My memories of him are as a child, but I remember him being so giving, so nice, so compassionate, so understanding. One of those people that really go out of their way to do a good thing. And shout out and salute to his mother and his father. God bless them, and may God accept them, and forgive them of anything, any shortcomings. But I just remember that how that made me feel as a kid, that he would think so much
Mm.
to gift me something, you know, because as a kid that just means the world to you. And I kept up with that. And I think of, you know, when I see a young man or something like that, I think about things, Mr. Leo, that you did for me. Like we moved away to Memphis. And for years, every year, I think it was like on my birthday or my mother's birthday, or even to this day, I think there's a card that comes every once in a while that you will send. And I mean, we haven't seen each other in 20 years, more than that,
Yeah.
right? 20 something plus years. So I just appreciate people like you. And I pray that God rewards you, man, for the good that you've done. Because that helped me out and is now an example for me. So every time I do something nice and I'm reminded of and inspired by what you did for me as a kid, just that extra act of kindness that you didn't have to do. I pray that you get some benefit, some blessing from inspiring me to do that for others. So thank you. And just know that the kindness that you did then is still rippling through space, time, and I pray you get the blessings for that. So thank you again.
Brandon, if I may, you reminded me of
Hmm.
something that Leo did. And I know he's going to remember this. There was this little restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant had taken this child's bike because the child and the mom had gone in to eat, and they didn't have money to pay for the food. So the owner kept
Mm.
the child's bike, right? And you're talking about a bike sometimes to a child, y'all, is
Mm.
everything, right? Everything. And I don't even know how we found out about this, but sure enough, Leo goes in and pays the man for the food so that the child could get the bike. Y'all, that comes from the heart. You can't make this up, right?
He had nothing to gain from that
Right,
interaction.
nothing to gain for it, and probably didn't tell a soul, but in talking about it, you just made me think about that. But imagine an owner, you're talking about probably $10, right? At that time, because it was so long ago, not having the heart to tell the mom. And y'all might say, yeah, she knew before, whatever. It ain't about her. Maybe she did, but this is a child, right? And I got to go back. I don't know why I'm thinking about the slingshot. So while we're buying slingshots and slinging around town, let's come together and put that slingshot money together and take care of some people, right? Who may not be able to take care of themselves, even if it's because they're not in the right mind space, right? People are coming to church and you won't be kind. And working the homeless ministry, I remember some of the homeless guys saying, we go to churches and they don't even want to sit by us. When it comes time to pray and hold the hands, they don't want to hold our hands. You goodness folks, you hallelujah folks, right? You can't make it up. Either you are that kind of person or you're not. Or you're not.
Mm.
So there we are. And there's so many more I could tell about Leo, but we'd be here till tomorrow. But just genuinely a good, good guy. Come from good people. Talks about how his mom too would feed the neighborhood when they thought they wouldn't have enough. And here's somebody else's children sitting here eating. But see, they understood the goodness of God. They had the ear. They knew the language. You take care of my people, I'll take care of you. They weren't afraid to trust God. They weren't afraid to be kind no matter what it looked like. So let's get out of here, Brandon. Let's
All
get
right,
out.
y'all. I know y'all got stuff to do. Thank y'all for joining us this morning and letting us be a part of your morning routine. We really appreciate you. Now, we really appreciate it. Y'all make sure you go brush your teeth, wash your face, put on something nice, and be on about your way today. But be kind as you do. Be kind as
Bring
you
those
do. We love
stories
y'all.
back tomorrow. Bring those stories
Yeah,
back
bring some stories
tomorrow.
back tomorrow. All
Bring
right, y'all.
those.
We love y'all so much. Thank you for all the comments. Shout out to everybody that said something. Shout out to the people that may not have said something. Do us a favor today, guys, and share this. Do someone else a favor and share this because somebody needs to hear this. This can be your act of
Welcome
kindness, right?
to End This Season
All right. Well, I
podcast,
love y'all
where
so
we
much,
unpack the most
and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right.
Take care. Peace.